Today is Wednesday, October 30, 2024. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person in the Lawrence City Council chambers and also remotely. Whoever that request the link, the Zoom link for this meeting was shared through the Lawrence, through the city clerk of the city of Lawrence. And this meeting is could also be viewed through the Lawrence City Council Facebook page, as well as the Lawrence City Council YouTube page. Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Councilor Levy.
Present.
Councilor LaPlante.
Here.
Councilor Luzon.
Present.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Present.
Councilor Santiago.
Present.
Councilor Marmol.
Present.
Councilor Reyes.
Present.
Good job. Council Vice President Infante.
Present.
Council President Rodriguez.
Present. I would like to acknowledge the fact that most of the councilors were participating on a park dedication for one of the Lawrence City Council, one of the former Lawrence City councilors, the first woman elected from the Latino community. Since then, things have changed, and now we have 6 women serving in these chambers. So please join me for the moment of silence. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. So we're going to go with public participation. The public participation, anybody that wrote their names on the list, they're gonna have 2.5 minutes. At the 2-minute mark, you're gonna hear it sounds or some type of signs indicating that you still have 30 seconds. The rules for the public participation are as follow. You can refer to the council as a whole, not to any individual councilors. With that said, we're gonna call the first person that we have. Yeah, this one. The first person that we have on the list is Tom Mayers. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Tom Myers, and I reside at 550 Haverhill Street here in the city. And I didn't want to repeat what I said Monday because I thought no one wants to hear the same thing twice. But the same theme obviously is going to be prevalent in these brief remarks. And the first thing that I want to do, I thought, was to reference a little experiment I used to do in class to talk about how democracy expanded here in our country. And I'm not going to ask people to do it just because of time, but what I would do is ask everybody in the room to stand. And then I would ask women to have a seat. Next, I would ask all people who are of non-European descent to have a seat. Next, those who do not own their own property have a seat. Well, if you look around this room, there'd be myself, one of your colleagues up there, the city attorney, former counselor, and that would be it. No one else would have been able to vote when this country was founded. The reality, obviously, today is quite different, and fortunately, our chairperson alluded to that and talked about the expansion of women participating in democracy within this council here, which is wonderful to hear. The expansion of democracy did not happen easily. You know, in 1922, you had the suffrage movement move to get the 19th Amendment passed, which allowed women to vote. 1924, Native Americans. And it wasn't until 1965 that you had the Voter Rights Act passed, which ended Jim Crow laws, such as literacy tests in order to vote. All of these happened because people struggled. Some people died, many people went to jail to fight to expand democracy. And I think you know where I'm going here. Don't be on the wrong side of history and try to decrease participation by doing away with the ability of us as citizens to elect our own school committee. One other fact of history, in 1933 in Germany, the chancellery voted to give power to one person. We all know what happened after that. I don't even have to name him. I think you all know enough about history and World War II to realize what I'm getting at. Be on the right side of history. Don't be on the wrong side of history. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The next person is Edwin Diaz. Name and address for the record, please.
Edwin Diaz, 17 Glenwood Drive. I'm going to try to not use up the whole 2.5 minutes. I'm here because of a Facebook post. It was brought to my attention that I'm not into politics or the decision-making. All these lovely people are. I've seen them before. This is my first time speaking. Removing a vote over or versus an appointment just set off something in me that just doesn't sit right. So I came here because I moved to a new neighborhood, and I noticed a lot of people in my neighborhood in District D don't speak up as publicly as they should. So here I am. I'm not here to point fingers or start a fight, but when I hear a a portion of a vote being removed so people can decide or people can vote on it instead of being an appointment. I'm just looking for the clarity because a lot of people are too busy living and not taking the time because they don't have it. So here I am going to start taking the time to start getting to know things a little more intimately instead of just the top layer. The top layer raises my common sense meter and it sets it off. So I'm going to start doing some digging on my own, but I'm just looking for the clarity of why remove a vote versus an appointment. I understand decisions need to be made. There's always numbers, metrics, details, rules, etc. But I'm looking for the clarity as to why, because sometimes even in the black and white, that can get convoluted? Convoluted? It gets weird, can't understand it. So I'm looking for the clarity to dumb it down for your regular Joe schmuck like me. That's it, that's all I got.
Thank you. The next person that we have is Rich Russell. Councilor Russell.
Good evening, councilors. Richard Russell, 34 Cross Street. Somehow the last several special council meetings have reminded me of the World Series, except for the fact there are people in this building that have changed the name of the game to "We're Serious." Will this meeting be strike three in the game of what is best for the citizens of Lawrence? In my humble opinion, anyone who changes their vote at this time, for whatever reason, deserves to be put on the waiver wire and traded in next year's election season. Pete Rose got banned from baseball for betting on his own team. Those that change their votes for whatever reason deserve the same fate. I will conclude by changing a little of what I have said at the past meetings. One man, one vote, not one manager and 6 players to be named later. Thank you for allowing me to express my displeasure at this mockery of our democratic process.
The next person that we have for public participation is Lenin Roa, a school committee member, Roa. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Lenin Roa, 36 Columbus Avenue, Lawrence, Massachusetts. I'm here today to ask you all to vote no on the proposal to restructure the school committee. This proposal chips away at 2 issues that are troublesome and are against our community well-being. It proposes to change the composition of the school committee to be 3 elected by the people, which diminishes the community representation to 50% of what it is today. It also proposes 3 members at large, which has been in the spirit of the law upheld by 3 different cities already besides Lawrence in 2002, Haverhill, Lowell, and Worcester. This is a discrimination against minorities, and we are minorities in this country, but not in this city. Please consider this when voting and supporting this. You're not supporting the community, and you're not supporting my kids. I have 3 kids in the public schools, and that's what drives me, and that's why I'm here. The only reason why I am a school committee member is because I am the parent of 3 kids that go to school here in Lawrence. Having said that, la razón por la que yo estoy aquí es para decirle a ustedes que por favor voten no en esta propuesta, porque hace 2 cosas. Una, discrimina en contra de minorías en esta ciudad que no somos nosotros ya. Y otra, que coge 3 personas de electoral oh my God. Del comité escolar, coge 3 personas y las convierte en escogidos por el concilio, cuando deben ser electos. Y esto es algo que es preocupante, porque al coger 3 personas del comité escolar y ponerlos apuntados, se quedan 3 personas por toda la ciudad, y esas 3 personas son las que van a hablar por nosotros, los votantes. Las otras 3 personas van a hablar por otras cosas. No sé qué agenda tengan, no sé si tengan agendas, no estoy indicando esto. Lo que sí estoy indicando es que le quita representación al pueblo. Y al quitarle representación al pueblo, esto hace que sea un problema para nosotros. Yo de verdad espero que ustedes voten no en esto y voy a tomar carta de quién vota y quién no vota, porque esto
Thank
es
you.
importante para mí.
Thank you. The next person that we have is Jonathan Guzman, a school committee member, Guzman.
Good evening, councilors. Jonathan Guzman, Vice Chair of the Lawrence School Committee, 39 Lynn Street, Lawrence Public Schools. I want to just start by congratulating the 10 elected members of the Holyoke School Committee who just announced they are getting out of receivership in 2025. Thank you, Holyoke School Committee, for being a partner in our work. Thank you also to the Department of Education who finally initiated the transitional discussion with us. We're happy to continue serving our community. Throughout this process, I have realized one thing, is that the Lawrence City Council rules seem meaningless, and those we have elected don't believe in them. The safeguards in place for matters like a home rule petition make no sense. Rule 11 states that rules cannot be suspended when an item needs more than 6 votes. I ask, what matter requires 7 votes for its passage in this city council? This issue is not unfinished business, and it should not be listed under old business. The October 21, 2024 meeting was adjourned. Thank you.
The next person that we have is Juan Manny Gonzalez. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Council President. Good evening, Madam Vice President, City Councilors. Please excuse if my voice might be a little bit disappointing, but it's just that I feel that this issue, this item has been kicked down the road, and here we are back again one more time. I know that a lot of people say that there's misunderstandings about what it is that we're trying to do, and I actually feel that what's before you or before us today is not something that came from any one of you 9. I think that this idea came from somebody else, and of course you have a duty to act on it. And it's been modified, remodified, voted on, stricken down, but it's still alive. It's still alive because we decided to reconsider. This thing was voted in a way that it was voted down, if you think about it. We found a way to reconsider and reopen it to bring it back on the table. It is unfortunate how it happened, but I truly believe that bottom line is that the school board, the school committee that we have in place right now, the elected members, the way it should be given a chance to work with the new superintendent. They have sacrificed their time, they have campaigned, they have taken time out of their lives to earn the right, whether it's receivership or not. They were there, they were dedicated, and they wanted to serve. And if we want better candidates, maybe we can find a way to promote that more people should get involved. Because by doing it the way we're doing it, it's almost like forcing the hand, and that's just gonna disappoint people to the point that they're not gonna wanna participate in the electoral process. So I ask you to reconsider not reconsidering. And that way we can have a fair process, right? And keep the school board the way it is now, elected. I see Jonathan, I see my district councilor LaPlante all the time. I do not see, please excuse me, I do not see my at-large candidates in my neighborhood unless I go to a meeting. So that's why I believe that elected district representatives are important. You see them, you interact with them. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next person that we have is Johnny Castillo. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Johnny Castillo, 52 Farnham Street, and I'll try to be brief tonight, hopefully. Somebody told me, why are you wasting your time? They have already made up their mind, and there's no persuasion to be made. They are just like going straight forward with whatever they decided. I say, I don't think so. Democracy calls for changes sometimes, and change your mind, which is adjusting yourself to what is just for others. You say justice for all? Well, it's best just to do what is being done so far. You know, if you look at the situation of the districts, you have to consider this. If you have one person looking after 90,000 people, it is not the same as to have one person looking after 15,000 people. The relation is closer. The relation is better. And that's why they say, well, we are electing our neighbor. We're electing our neighbor. So we want to keep it the way it is. Now, 3 appointed, this is giving room for political infiltration. You know why we lost the school system, right? It's because we didn't have a leader, we didn't have a superintendent on time, and the political situation, the politicians infiltrated the school with politics. This is the 2 main reasons that Mr. Chester announced he prescribing the decision to take education from us. Politics in the schools and not naming a leader. So now, when we give the facility to somebody to name 3 people by finger, we are bringing politics. We are bringing politics into the school system. I beg you, please. I urged you last time. I'm begging you now. Do not do this thing, this home rule petition. Don't do it, please.
Right, the next person is Julie Todd. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. Julie Todd, 75 Durso Ave. I'm here to support a fully elected school committee. I'm here to support a fully elected school committee. The basis of democracy is that we trust the people. We trust the people to elect their leaders. We trust the people to elect their leaders. And I trust the school committee. I trust the school committee that exists. I moved back here in 2013. I have known multiple people on this school committee. Marianela Rivera, Jonathan Guzman, Jim Blatchford, Joshua Alba, Stacy Seward, highly capable, highly committed, not only to the school committee, but to this community. And what I hear from them is that for year after year after year after year after year after year, they have been blocked from doing their jobs by the receivers and by the city council and by the mayor. I don't know the details of all of that, but that is what I have heard year after year after year after year. And what I hear now is that this is what is happening again with our current school committee, who the people have elected to run the schools on our behalf. And I trust them. I don't think they're perfect. I don't think they know everything, but I trust them. And if I lose my trust in them, then I have the right to vote to elect the next school committee. And I am asking you to vote for a fully elected school committee and trust us, the people, who so far everyone I've heard has asked you to do the same. Please trust the people to elect our school committee.
Thank you. The next person is Nathan Baez. Name and address for the record, please.
Peace. My name is Nathan Baez. I live on 182 Commerce Street. And it's unfortunate that I'm here again to ask you guys to vote no on this home rule petition. The past 3 meetings that have been held, I have yet to hear one person come up here and agree with this proposal. Not one person. And that says a lot. It's like, are you guys working for us or do we work for you? because this is ridiculous. And I know a few of you have been members of the school committee or have got to your positions because you were elected, not because you was appointed at your position. So all we ask is that you allow the school committee to have that same right, because at this point, this is getting ridiculous. And leave it up to the professionals who know about education and who know about democracy and government to allow them to flourish and to do what they do. I don't believe y'all know enough about education in the city to be making decisions on who should be appointed as the school committee members. Leave that power to the people. Thank you.
Right, the next person is Mary Guerrero. Name and address for the record, please.
Mary Guerrero, 149 Abbott Street. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. I'm here as a citizen of the city to say that I am upset that you would vote on yes on this deal. I want a fully elected school committee, just like Julie Todd just said. I also agree with Manny Gonzalez when he said that it will, or basically he didn't say it with these words, but what I understand is if you're going to have half the school committee appointed and half elected, it's going to become a farce. And nobody will believe in it anymore because they'll see it being empowered by one side. And I also feel like when you have a budget for the school and you have a budget for the city, you don't need the potential look of a conflict of interest between two budgets being manipulated by one group that's appointing people onto that school committee. I want to elect a school committee as a citizen, and I want the democracy that we believe in this city. I don't want it taken away from us, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. The next person is a few people that are online would like to speak. So the first one that we're going to call is Luis Robles. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Name
Luis
and address
Robles.
for the record, please.
Luis Robles, 183 Abbott Street. And tonight, I hope I don't get beat up, but I would like to show my support for the hybrid school committee model. Our current school committee members are awesome. But when I think of the future, there is no guarantee that the current members or that the future members will be as dedicated and as awesome as our current ones are. I think a hybrid model provides guardrails to ensure that we have the best school committee in the future, in case that people that are not dedicated run for these positions. We have heard support and opposition, and we have seen democracy at work in the council chambers through public participation. And during this public participation, everyone has brought important and valuable perspectives from members of the community, the teachers union, and current school committee members. And their dedication to our children, I think, is something that should be deeply appreciated and should also be applauded. Me, myself, as a community member that loves to participate in local government, it does make me happy to see other members of the community getting involved, even if we differ in opinion. At the same time, I think it's time to move forward and come to a final decision tonight. Let us show our children that we can rise above our differences and come together for the greater good. I urge you all, including the councilors who voted no, I love you all, but to please support the underlying proposal and vote unanimously. And this will demonstrate our commitment of unity and progress to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person that we have is Bridget Routing. He is online. The person is online. Can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? Bridget?
Yes, I'm sorry. I passed. I had not put my name on the list.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
because you say yes. The next is Tricia. Are you willing to speak? You say yes on the list here. All right. The next person that we have online is Kevin Gillespie. All right. Nobody else online. All right, we are finishing up with public participation. All these names are going to be submitted for the record. And now, then, there is no public hearings at this agenda. There is no communication from the mayor, city official, or city attorney. And then we have an old business that I actually invoke a Rule 4 and pass the gavel to the vice president previously, and that stay until this item conclude.
Thank you, Council President. Before we continue, I was made aware that the city attorney does have a few words to share with the city council tonight. Attorney Hooten, you have the floor.
Good evening, Council. Tim Hooten, the city attorney. I'm not up here as an advocate for one side or the other. I'm more here as kind of the rules person. So I think there's people in the audience that want to understand what exactly is the procedure, what's happening tonight, what happened in the past. There was a vote taken on a home rule petition. Home rule petition provides that a 2/3 vote in order to pass. There are 9 members of the city council. In order to prevail, you needed 6 votes. The vote did not pass, which there were not 6 votes in it. The rules of the city council provide that you can have a motion for reconsideration on the same night that the motion is made. Obviously, this is not the same night, so under the rules, this could not be brought. But there is another rule which allows the city council to suspend their rules, and that was the motion that you heard last time. There was a motion to suspend the rules, which would allow this matter to be back forward. It was voted on and passed. The next motion that happened is the motion which we are now going to have tonight, which is a motion to reconsider. In order to have a motion to reconsider, someone on the prevailing party, and that doesn't necessarily mean the party that won the vote, it can be the losing vote, but one person can say that they have changed their mind and wish to be brought forward. In this case, that is the council president, which is why you see here tonight that the council president does not have the gavel. He is going to be making that motion, and as council president, he could not make that motion with the gavel, but he can make it now. What happens next is that was voted on. It was seconded. At that point, there was a motion by one of the councilors which delayed the vote for 1 week. This was a charter objection, which is allowed under the rules. The charter objection had taken place, so we are now here tonight. So the way that this will work at this point is that there will be we have a motion, we have a second on the motion to reconsider. We will now have a discussion, if any of the councilors wish to discuss the motion. It is the first motion, it is the motion to reconsider. That's the only thing that will be talked of at that time. After that, there will be a vote. In order for a motion to reconsider to pass, there has to be 6 votes in the affirmative. If there is not 6 votes in the affirmative, the matter fails, this meeting is over. There is nothing else that happens at that time. If there is more than 6 votes, then the motion to reconsider passes. So now you may go to the underlying item, which is the home rule petition, which can then be brought forward. Unfortunately, because that is very specific, that is the item that is being, because it was voted on, there's no amendments allowed, there's no charter objections allowed, there's nothing. It is a revote of something that has been voted on, so it has to be the exact same thing that was voted on. At that time, you will notice that one of the members of the city council will step aside, and that is because only the people that voted on that original motion are allowed to re-vote. So if you were not present for the vote, you have to step aside at that point. Again, the requirement for that is 6 votes. If there is 6 or more votes in the affirmative, the home rule petition will pass. If there are less than 6 votes, the home rule petition will fail. At that point, the meeting will be over. I'm available for any questions. I've also, I know the general public hasn't seen it, but I know there were certain questions regarding Robert's rules, et cetera, which I addressed in my memo to the city council. So I'm available for any questions as you proceed, but procedural questions only. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Attorney Hooten. As stated by the attorney, we're now moving to discussion. Councilor Santiago, you have
I have a question for him.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Yes. And the second meeting before, not the last one, the meeting before, The Councilor Levy was in the meeting, but she didn't do the vote.
Correct.
If she can do the vote for reconsider it,
She can do the vote to reconsider. She cannot do the vote on the underlying home rule petition.
I got it. Thank
Because
you.
the motion to reconsider is a new vote by a new council. After that, the only people that can vote on the home rule petition were the people that voted prior.
Thank you.
Counselor Levy.
Thank you. Mr. Houston, I have a question. If the reconsideration was taken on the same night, I will be able to vote?
If you were present in the chamber at the time of the vote, you would be able to vote.
Well, at the time of the vote, but I say when I came back, I asked for reconsideration of the vote. So I will be able to vote if the reconsideration was taken on that night?
I was not asked that. You're asking for a new vote on that night, but if it didn't happen at this point, I would assume you could come back in later if there was emergency and ask them if you could re-vote. It happens all the time where council come in later and cast their vote, but there's no record of any vote at that point.
Well, at that time I asked for the reconsideration, but I know that's, I'm sorry, the president at the moment, so he doesn't want to pass the hand or didn't do the vote. So, but I was not absent, so I just went
No,
out
no
for
one
a
is
few minutes.
suggesting that
I
you were
want to
absent at
make, okay, just to be clear that,
No, you were
they
present.
consider like me absent, but I was not absent. I just went to outside for a few minutes.
That's correct. I in no way suggested, you were physically at the meeting. We have your picture and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Councilor Luzon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice President. So, and I just want you to clarify this question, because I'm getting a question from my constituents. So, the last meeting, we adjourned this meeting.
This meeting was continued.
No, we adjourned
Again,
the
you have to be
meeting.
specific. If you mean the last meeting where you personally did a charter objection, the meeting was not adjourned.
Yes,
Did you
all
do the
of-
charter objection? I apologize. The charter objection.
That's not my question.
Then the meeting is postponed for a next date.
No, I'm sorry. All the meetings, we adjourned in all the meetings, including the one we had on Monday. We adjourned, and may I continue?
Sorry, Councilor. It wasn't to you. It wasn't to you, Councilor.
Thank you, Madam Vice President.
Yes, you adjourned to a
We-
later
We
date.
adjourned,
To a
no,
later
we
date.
adjourned that meeting. We adjourned that meeting.
To a later date.
No, we adjourned the meeting for that day. There was no continuing, no recess. So this meeting
But
is,
the charter objection, again,
Councilor, can you
I
give me
don't-
a second? Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you, and sorry to interrupt you, City Attorney. Just like the people request to be respected when they speak during public participation, this is still an ongoing meeting, and we're requesting the same respect. Thank you.
a charter
Please continue.
objection by itself continues the matter.
may I, Madam Chair?
You still have the floor, Councilor Luzon.
It continues the matter, but we adjourned the meeting. Go back to the minutes. We adjourned the
Okay, but the matter
meeting.
is still continued.
I think we are in two different places, Attorney. So what will be the question? So if we adjourn that meeting, is this meeting legal? Because we adjourned
Yes.
the
because
last
there wa-
meeting.
Because there was a charter objection. The charter objection continues the matter.
Based on,
That's the purpose. If the charter, so I'm going to give you the technical and.
give me the, thank you, Attorney.
Okay. This body has a history of using the charter objection to continue matters. Technically, a charter objection, you should state, I raise a charter objection because this violates page 27, Form 56 of the charter. That has never been done in this body. In the history of this body, no one has ever actually given me the charter section that's, so this body uses the charter objection as a continuance to the next. It's a continuous mechanism. There's no need to do anything else. Once you charter object, the matter will be continued.
And why, and I'm going to sound repetitive, but we adjourned the meeting. We did that. instead of finishing the meeting right there and leaving the,
You cannot finish the meeting. You've made a charter objection. A charter objection cannot be heard on that night. A charter objection must be continued until the next meeting. By the person making the charter objection, they have successfully continued the meeting until the next night. The next meeting.
Attorney Houghton, we have the language here from the charter, and Madam Clerk, can you read the language word for word that's currently in our city charter?
Thank you. I think what Attorney Houghton is saying, a charter objection by its nature carries the item to the next meeting, but it actually states that right in our charter also. It says, it's section 3.8 of our charter, subsection C reads charter objection. On the first occasion that the question of adoption of any measure is put to the city council, except an emergency measure, in accordance with section 3.7B, if a single member objects to the taking of the vote shall be postponed until the next meeting of the city council, regular or special. If, when the matter is next put to the council for a vote, 4 or more members object to the taking of the vote, the matter shall be postponed for not less than an additional 5 days. This procedure shall not be used more than once for any measure, notwithstanding an amendment to the original measure. Very clear that.
Thank you.
For the next meeting, yeah.
Thank you, Clerk Bernal. Attorney?
No, that's.
Counselor, does that answer your question?
yes, yes, Madam Chair, thank you.
Any other counselors have questions or comments? Councilor Marmol. Make sure you press your mic, Counselor.
This isn't towards you, Attorney Houghton, but thank you for the clarification, because I too needed the specifics and the details to make sure that the concerns of the constituents in regards to the legalities of having these meetings was actually not, like, we're not obstructing or not violating any policies and procedures. So thank you. My comments that I'm about to make, you can have a seat. I don't want to have you standing. I'm going to do my best to exercise emotional intelligence, because besides being a city councilor, I too am human. And listening to the critiques, the attacks, the concerns, which are very valid, and that is why I ran for city council, is to do my due diligence to hear you guys and make decisions that I believe would be best for this community. I'm going to do my best to speak with so much compassion and empathy, because the way that you guys have discussed your concerns do truly matter to me. However, I find that so many people that have an amazing platform have taken an opportunistic opportunity to misguide and mislead people, which is why so many of you that I have heard these past few meetings come before us to speak the way that you speak, and I don't blame you. I do not. I want to clarify that this is not the mayor's original proposal that's being discussed right now. It is not the mayor's original proposal. It is also not the proposal from the school committee. We have given them months to figure this out, months. And unfortunately, they have not been able to do so. So now it is up to city council to be able to find that healthy balance that unfortunately we're gonna have to agree to disagree. I also want to state that I have listened and heard people make comments in terms of, well, that's why I don't even want to vote. Well, you know what? There's so many good candidates with good intentions, and that's why they don't even want to run. And I was one of those people. It took a lot for me to run for city council, because you often get confused with people that run for the wrong reasons, for people that run because they have something to gain out of it. And I'm not one of those candidates. I'm not even a candidate. I'm not one of those city councilors. I also want to state, because I have to jot down notes in order for me to make sure that I'm because I have not taken the time to speak. Every meeting that I have attended, I have taken my time to listen and not interrupt anyone. I'm very observant. But considering that this may be, I'm not sure, maybe the last meeting that we're having, I thought that I owed it to my constituents to speak in terms of the reasoning why I have voted and why I will vote the way that I will vote tonight. I've learned that as a counselor for District D, that the decisions that I've made and that I will make on this proposal does not only affect District D, it affects everybody and it affects the whole city and my whole community. Therefore, I do not only owe an explanation to my constituents, I owe an explanation to all of you. I've heard some of your concerns, and one of the concerns that I saw was that that this proposal diminishes the voice of the community and the elected body to which the constituents have the ability to elect. And I decided to do my due diligence and homework in terms of, you know what, let me look back at previous elections. And what I'm about to say by no means is a reflection of how I feel about the school committee members that currently serve. I believe that they're educated. I believe that they're very capable. And I've gotten to meet most of them and work with most of them, and I trust in the work that they have done thus far. So what my comments that I'm about to make is not a reflection of the ability of what they have been able to produce and contribute as a school committee member. For the 2023 election, every district ran unopposed. Excuse me, I have the floor.
Can I please remind, especially some the individual in the gallery who used to be a former city council and knows the rules, please respect the council during discussion, and let's keep, I know this is frustrating, it's frustrating on both ends, but again, we were asked for respect on your part, we're asking for respect on our end too. It's our turn now to speak. Councilor Marmol.
So I was trying to do my homework by reviewing previous elections. I'm noticing a lot of the rhetoric is that we're diminishing and stripping away people's ability to choose and elect, right? So I looked at previous elections, and 2023, every district ran unopposed, which District B right now has no school committee member, from my understanding, which we should look into why that district is not being represented as we speak. And District D, when the school committee member that won for District D resigned by the time he had to take his oath. And when he resigned, we had to appoint someone. 2021's election, every single person ran unopposed. And in previous elections, the majority, based on the historical data, the majority run either unopposed or they're running as a write-in. There were some districts where there was competition, and there was, some school committee members did have to do the grit of actually run a campaign and prove themselves and talk to the constituents and show why they are the better candidate. But 9 times out of 10, from what I'm seeing based on the data, school committee members are running unopposed. So when you're telling me that this proposal is stripping away your ability to elect or choose someone, you're not choosing. You're only voting for someone, you're voting for the only candidate that's on the ballot. Excuse me. I have the ability to speak. I have the ability.
Sorry, Councilor Marmol.
No, that's okay.
I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself. I understand there are questions. If you do have questions within each other, please try to keep a little bit more lower, because it does disrupt the discussion. We can hear it from this end. We're trying to give, you guys are asking for answers, you're asking for explanation. Councilor Marmol is trying to provide that. Councilor Marmol.
I'm gonna try to wrap it up and make it quick, because again, I feel like I am sticking out my neck to give an explanation, which it's tough because I know I'm going to be criticized for it, and most of us will just stay quiet and take a vote. So I know that pretty much the comments that I'm making, and I welcome it because this is why I ran. So if I'm wrong in something, I welcome the challenge and the debate because I'm making a decision based on what I know to be true and what I know that would be the best decision for the community. I come from a standpoint where I served both as an appointed member and as an elected member. And when I was appointed, it was not easy. I had to be interviewed for over 2 hours by the Lawrence City Council and the LAE Board. So when I look at this hybrid model, which some people have not, when they go on their Facebook platforms, to misguide and mislead people, to let people know that this is a fully appointed model. That is incorrect. That the mayor is the one appointing. That is incorrect as well. The city council would be, based on this proposal, the city council would be the one making those decisions. And might I highlight the fact that the mayor did not even want that. The mayor's proposal was that he wanted to appoint. The mayor's proposal was that he wanted to assign someone as a designee on behalf of him. So this proposal by no means is what the mayor wants as well. Okay? So let's make that very clear. I find it very disheartening and disappointing that as I have stuck out my neck to be a representative of not only my district but my community, and also being a former school committee member, and we have 2 other former school committee members here as well, that most of you guys that are sitting right now in this chamber have glorified and praised the work that we have done in the past and what we have continued to do well after. And this proposal, for some reason, diminishes that work. And that is disappointing to me. The last thing I'll say is that this hybrid model, my opinion, I won't speak for all counselors, this hybrid model, the appointed section of it, I found it to be an opportunity based on what I've heard some folks say, where it's like, wow, it would be great to have parents to be part of the board. It would be amazing to have former students, former teachers, or anyone within the education sector who don't feel like being politicians running because it sucks to run. I don't like running. It's not easy running a campaign, having to convince somebody why you're the better candidate. And the appointed body, it's not going to be easy as well, because then there are at the whim and will of a constant changing elected body, which as the city council chambers, the councilors that are serving now are not the same councilors that served 2 years ago and 2 years prior to that. So it's a constant changing elected body. The mayor's office is a constant changing elected body. So the appointed members, I feel like, yeah, it's every 2 years, but every 2 years they have to prove themselves as to why they should be reappointed once again. And they don't have to be, for them to convince a constant changing elected body is not going to be easy. Those that are elected, it's not going to be easy as well, because running an election, like I previously said, it's difficult and it's hard. But once you are elected, data has shown that it is highly probable that you will continuously be reelected, because it's also less feasible for an incumbent to be taken out of their seat by a new candidate. But I digress.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
Councilor Marmo. Councilor De Rosario rose his hand first. Councilor De Rosario, you have the floor.
Thank you to you, Madam Chair. I just want to piggyback right on what you said and why I'm making the decision. I hear people saying that we're not listening to the people. I hear colleagues say listen to the constituents. I have 2 phones, and this is a part-time with full-time responsibilities. My phone has been ringing 24/7 in the past 2 or 3 weeks. And if you guys don't know, I was one of the ones that sent an email to move this forward as soon as possible, because the ad hoc committee was being criticized. They couldn't get together. They couldn't get the proposals together, and we were running out of time with the state, for the state to make a decision. So, and the way that I'm going to make my decision on my vote is due to I listen to my constituents. They're not here against what you're saying. And I don't find this political. I find you guys, some of you, made it political. There was a proposal here to put solar panels on the Arlington School, and it went down. I didn't see no school committee members. I didn't see no teachers union. I didn't see anybody fighting for the education piece that solar panel was going to bring to the kids of the Arlington School, supporting that. And it has been items here for the school and the kids, and I didn't see anybody. But to choose, this is the only city where with some unions want to choose their own boss, and this is the only city where some unions want to choose their own committee that is going to run what they run. I never work in a company that I can choose my own boss. But when there are items here that it comes to education, I never seen anybody here fighting for those kids for really education. What I see here on that side, and I could be criticized, to me is political, but on your side. And again, my decision that I will make today or tomorrow, whatever happens, is based on my constituents' calls and my emails. Because when you send me 10 emails, I might receive 52 emails. My constituents tell me the way they want me to go. So this is, tonight, any decision that I make is based on my constituents. I run the Arlington neighborhood, which is one of the poorest districts in this area, and most of you, or none of the people, go to even the Arlington school or go to that neighborhood to find out what's going on in those schools, and I do, and I get all those phone calls and this two phone, and I can show you my emails. So my decision tonight, whatever that is based on listening to my constituents. No unions, my constituents.
Thank you. Councilor Luzon has a question for Attorney Houghton. So Attorney Houghton, can you please come to the podium?
Thank you.
Councilor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you, Attorney. And I have a question about the injunction. Would you go over that? People want to know if the injunction is, we know the answer, but I wanted people that are listening to hear from you.
An injunction, just so you understand, is a form in a court case.
Go ahead.
It's contained in a court case. It prevents or forces someone to do something during the pendency of the court case. So it might be that you are not allowed to talk about the court case during the court case. You can no longer shut someone's water off during the court case. It's something that happens during the court case. At the end of the court case, any and all of those motions are null and void. So this case is over, so there is no injunction at this point.
Okay, Madam Chair, if I may, 5-something, and I'm going to ask maybe the clerk to answer that question. According to our agenda, the establishment of the home rule petition defining a governing structure for the Lawrence School Board upon the exit of the state receivership was submitted by Mayor Brian DePena. Is that correct, Madam Chair? Or Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
Okay. And if I may, Madam Chair, Vice President, and I just want to make a statement. Yes, the proposal is not completely the mayor's proposal. I agreed with my colleague Marmo. What we are discussing here is the ability to our people to choose their school committee by vote. That's what we are discussing here. We understand that the proposal went through a transformation. Things were added, deleted. The council president sent 2 councilors to represent the council, along with the school committee members. They work on that, and that was presented back to us. And yes, the hybrid committee may be something great for the city. We are not discussing that. We are discussing here, and I want to make it clear, the ability to our people to vote for their school committee members, and in my case, vote for them by districts. That's what we are discussing. We don't have anything against what the mayor is proposing, because the Madam Clerk admitted it was submitted by the mayor's office. This may be something good for the city. but we want the people to vote for it. If the people want a hybrid, a school committee, let them choose. If they want the committee to stay in the way it is now, let them choose. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
I have a question for you, Mr. Attorney. Please, can you explain to people why I'm not able to vote on the proposal?
Okay.
Again, yes, so I'm just getting,
We're not-
I'm just sending a couple of texts.
Council Levy, right before I
Yes.
call the vote, we're gonna have him
Well,
explain.
but, all right,
Yeah.
so, because people are asking, do you know, that they hear that I'm not able to vote
You
at
can
the
vote,
end.
you can vote,
So, yeah, and let's.
the discussion we're having right now, you can vote on, which is the vote to reconsider. And then when we get to the next vote, I will come back up.
Okay, Madam Chair, let me finish. So,
No, go ahead.
I want to say a couple of things also. And if you guys remember at the beginning, when we got the first proposal that was sent by the mayor proposal was to have all the members at large. Many years ago, I was one of the fighter person. Okay, I fight for the school committee many years ago. Since 1996-95 up to 2002, I was involved with these people, you know, to get what you've been doing or where you are right now, with people by district. We did a group of people called Council of Dominican American Voters. Well, part of all of this fighting with the Justice Department and getting right now the distribution of the district to make sure that we will equally represented at the school. Before everybody, like it's my Councilor LaPlante explained it, before everybody was at large. We need representation. We were fighting because as a minority, we find that we don't have any representation at the school level. We won the fighting, and we were able to do the distribution, and guys, we have a school committee by district. My proposal, when I saw the proposal of the mayor, I decided to write a new proposal asking to have maybe 3 or 4, I don't remember how many people, you know, appointed, allowed, or whatever, but to keep the people for the school committee by district. And that was a very verified discussion because somebody else had another proposal that practically was the same, but it was not an agreement. I tried to defend, you know, at some point, to have people elected by district. But at no point at this time, we have the ad hoc committee, we have many discussions, and that was practically as politician because everybody say, oh, the mayor is involved. No, I'm not thinking about the mayor. I'm thinking about the children. I don't have a children at school at this moment. And I have to take out my children from school at the time that I was fighting for all our children here in the city of Lawrence. What happened? A large didn't function. When we have everybody at large. We have from 2001 up to practically up to now is by district. But in 2010, 2011, the government has to take our school because neither function by district. And agree with what our Councilman Marmor say. We have to keep looking for every single district who's going to be running for the school committee. And some of the districts sometimes do not have no one running for that. Since 2010, 2011, the government is the one who's managing our school. So as of today, a large by district, neither the government have able to make something good for our school or for our children. It is time for us also. Sometimes it's hard. I know that I'm not able to vote on this final decision, but I know my vote. And I think that it's time for us to move forward and get something that maybe will work. If not, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, let's do another referendum. But we need to think on our children. That is the first thing that we have to think. Maybe I'm not here in 5 years, but I'm going to be watching what is happening. And believe me or not, it's hard. What this body is trying to do is to get the best, not thinking on the mayor. The mayor can be today, maybe not tomorrow, and we're going to have somebody else. This body is going to be maybe something different next year. But we are trying to do our best, and the best is to get the school back and get the best for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one comment to make, so I'm going to pass the gavel to our most senior member so I can make this comment before proceeding with the rest of the. I asked. Pass it for a. It's not a fact.
I've never had a double pass.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep my comments to myself then, so we can move it forward. Counselor, can you grab Counselor Del Rosario, because I don't want, I know you, Counselor Levy weren't able to vote, and I'm about to call the question.
Can she hold the gavel and she can't vote?
This is not a vote. She can vote on this vote.
Yeah, but she can hold the gavel.
All right, at this point, I'm going to call the question, the motion to reconsider, which does need 6 votes. So, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor LaPlante.
Yes.
Counselor Luzon.
No.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Santiago.
No.
Counselor Marmol.
Yes.
Counselor Reyes.
Yes.
Council Vice President
Yes.
and Council President Rodriguez.
Yes.
Motion is 7-2.
Motion passes with 7-2. Motion carries. Now we are moving forward. Now we have to vote on the underlying motion. Madam Clerk, can you repeat the underlining motion that we have, which was the motion that was first charter objected? When was it, the first special meeting? On Monday?
16th, the 21st was the first charter objection.
On the 21st. Can you please read the motion and the amendments that were accepted for
Point of
that?
parliamentary inquiry, I just want to make sure that,
Counsel.
before this runs off the trails, that when we do the roll call vote, it's my understanding that whoever holds the gavel is the last person to vote. So I just want to make sure that in the succeeding votes that takes place.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Am I reading the motion to amend?
Yep.
This was a motion that had been previously voted on by the council. It had 5 votes, but it required 6 to pass. The proposal at that time was a new school committee with 3 elected members at large for 2-year terms, 3 appointed members appointed by the city council for 2-year terms. Then the mayor, as the chair, consistent with the city charter, with voting power and not his designee. And that the appointed members would have a background in either education, finance, or the law. And then the final, Councilor Marmol had made an amendment that the document be edited throughout to clarify and correct, so that it's consistent with those points, and that included the deletion of sections 5 and 6.
And to clarify, that was the document that was sent up.
From the ad hoc
From
committee.
the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
So there was, I made the motion, there was a second, the motion was seconded.
Right, but that motion failed. So we need a new motion at this time.
Discussion?
Question?
No, the motion is to reconsider that motion, so the same motion. The motion is to
City Attorney, can you clarify that, please?
You are reconsidering this, so you now need you're now allowed to bring this forward, so someone needs to bring it forward. We need to make a motion to approve, make a motion to approve it in second.
Same. Can I have a motion to, and then we're going to discussion. Can I have a motion to?
You need a motion to approve this item.
To approve the amendments stated by the.
So moved.
Motion has been made by.
No, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
What's going on?
We are voting on the original motion. Can you repeat what you just said? Because it looks like it's going to be an amendment to that original motion. We
No.
cannot have an amendment.
There is no, there was no amendment. At the beginning of the meeting, the city attorney made it clear, we cannot make further amendments to the motion that originally failed. So,
can you repeat?
Madam Clerk, can you repeat the motion that Councilor Del
you.
Rosario just made?
Thank you.
Just to be clear, the discussing now, initially made on October 21st, 2024 by Councilor Infante, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario at that time, has been the underlying motion that we've discussed throughout. That motion just restated now is the ad hoc committee's proposal with the amendment of sections 5.2 and 5.7 being further amended so that the proposal is this was the amendment, all these amendments were made on October 21st. There's no new amendments being presented at this time tonight.
Make sure you're listening.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Continue, please.
So that motion from October 21st was 3 elected at-large members for 2-year terms, 3 appointed by the city council members for 2-year terms, the mayor as the chair per the city charter with voting power and not a designee, and that the appointed members would have a background in education, finance, or the law.
One of each.
One of each. And then Councilor Marmol had also, back on the 21st, had made an amendment at that time, prior to the final vote, that the document be edited throughout to clarify and correct, and that would include the deletion of sections 5 and 6 of that original proposal because they were not consistent with those changes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So motion has been made. Who seconded it? Seconded by Councilor Marmol. Discussion, Council President. Oh, sorry, Councilor Santiago.
At the same day, we have the charter objection, right? And a charter objection give convenience to the item that was objected. And the meeting, we need to adjourn separately, but we adjourn together in the same day.
So as Clerk Burnell read earlier directly from our city charter, we did adjourn. The vote gets paused until until the next meeting, whether special or general meeting. So we continued that. The motion failed, which is why we are now have a new motion to reconsider the vote, and that's what's going on.
Okay.
Any other discussions?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Councilor
No, go
Lozano.
ahead, go ahead.
Councilor LaPlante, because Councilor LaPlante hasn't spoken. Yeah, you haven't spoken.
Being very nice.
Well, I wouldn't have.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. So, just a couple of points. Frankly, Madam Vice President, I'm very impressed by the debate here this evening, the eloquence, the people who are providing their positions, and I think I respect it regardless of which side of the debate you're on, but I respect the fact that people are doing what they believe is right and they're doing it to the best of their abilities, and I respect that. So I just thought that is important, having been around this thing for a little while, that it's good to see. One of the points that has not been mentioned, I don't want to repeat other people's points, although I agree with many. I just want to reflect on things that haven't been mentioned. Number one, and I think this is one of the most important parts of this, that's being lost in the public debate of this. And what's being lost is that whatever we do as a city council is not going to be the law.
I was actually going to mention that.
We're not the end all or be all. What we are doing is we are offering a proposal to the state legislature. It's the state law that's being essentially, the charter is a state law, and they're going to change the charter. Now, they oftentimes, as you know, Madam Vice President, they oftentimes look to what the locals want to do, but they are not required to go ahead and do exactly what we say. As a matter of fact, they will sometimes make changes to things, even though there's a home rule petition. So whichever of the side of the debate we fall on tonight, and our residents who may or may not agree with us, I think it should be important to note that this is not the final. This is just a recommendation by leaders who have read and looked at and discussed ad nauseum 4 different proposals that have run throughout 6 months since we last talked about it before an ad hoc committee was formed. To the credit of my district school committee member who's been pushing and been, to his credit, aggressive about this, wanting to see us get out of local control. And we're on the precipice of that now. So this conversation has been going on for some time. But it's not going to end tonight, no matter which way we end up voting. So I think that's really, really, really important for us to remember. I also think it's important for us to know about timing. We are having all these special meetings, and the timing is that if the legislature does not put in something by October 31st, what's today, the 30th? By the end of business, or whatever their rules are, tomorrow, there is no movement on this. Now, some people would say, yay, that's fantastic, no movement. That's exactly what we want. We want to slow walk this thing. We don't want to move fast on this. I get that, and that's an opinion, valid, got it. But those of us who want to get out of state control as soon as possible, who want to bring control back here locally, some of us want to move on this. And not all the proposals that we have looked at, and not all the proposals that we have written, seen, we like. Some that we have elements that we like, some not total. But I think it's important to know that, and it's also really important to know we can't amend this tonight. The city attorney already mentioned this evening that even though one, several, who knows how many, think there may be a better option, we cannot debate that. We cannot offer that. So what are we doing? We have our backs against the wall with the clock. We can't offer anything differently tonight. All we have is 3, 3, and 1. That's it. Nothing else. That's all we can vote on tonight. So where do I stand on this? So people have been asking. I've been getting the same phone calls. I've been getting the same text messages.
We all have.
And I'm agreeing with everybody else who says they got it. Me too. I'm going to raise my hand. Me too. Got them. And like I think most, if not all, I read them. I listen. I talk. I do a lot of listening, frankly, because I want to hear. And one of the things that I'm learning is that when you have this many proposals, there's a lot of confusion. a lot of confusion about what's true, what's accurate, whose proposal is this, what's the latest, what's the parliamentary rules. My God, we are doing things right now that we've never seen about, I don't recall how many special meetings we have on this, but I don't recall that being done in quite some time. I can't imagine double charter amendments, a charter amendment on a rules to reconsider. There's a lot of things that I've never seen that we're dealing with. Things that I'm learning a lot more about the process as we dig a lot deeper into our rules, but we've never had to deal with it. So if it's confusing to us, it's definitely confusing to the people we represent who are watching this saying, I have no idea what the hell they're doing. No idea. So I just think it's important that we acknowledge that. So where do I stand? So I stand on this. I'm not crazy about the 3-3-1. I'll be very frank. I am of the opinion that I would like to see a majority of the individuals who are going to be elected on the school committee. I think there should be 4. I would like to see that. I think that provides what a lot of people are saying, that we want to make sure that most of our membership is elected. So I agree with that, but I can't make that motion tonight. Can't. I'm unable to. It's against the rules. I also think that if we look back, councilors, through you, Madam Vice President, if we look back, and Councilor Levy mentioned it, she touched on it, we've had at-large school committee members for some time. And the reason I think, the last time we actually had a vote on it, when I say we, I mean the populace, the residents on the ballot, was 1983, when that was part of the package, and the population then said we want to have, they voted for part of the package at large, and we continued. And it changed through what Councilor Levy said earlier regarding the Consent Decree Act back in 1999. But the reason, and this is what, there's a philosophical difference. I've got a lot of residents here and people that I represent who say, I want to be able to vote for, I want to represent. I get that because they look at us and they say, you got 6 district councilors. I'd like to go down the street and I'd like to talk to that person and I feel like I got a relationship there. The reason why there was at-larges for such a long time is because there were 3 elements of a school department that are responsible. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. 3 jobs, essential jobs. And if I can't read it real quick, I've committed it to memory. The jobs are, 1, as I'm looking for it, selecting a superintendent of schools. That's one job. Number 2, managing the day-to-day operations of the schools. And number 3, doing the hiring of, I think basically the administrative or the maybe, I'm not sure if it goes, how far down it goes to teachers. I'm not sure about that, but at least some of the hiring and personnel matters at the school department, part of the day-to-day obligations. Those are the 3 things. The curriculum, not handled here. We're told what we have to handle by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So what we're looking at then are people who are able to manage. And what we have, and this is why I think, part of me why I think manage the schools. What I like about this proposal of at least going ahead with the at-larges is this. In the ad hoc and in the mayor's proposal, and I think even more so in the school department's proposal, they have put together some of these organizations that were going to help assist a selection of the people who are going to be nominations or the nominees. I think that if we were to let the school committee be at large, where we can all select citywide the best people who we think we want to serve us, if we have a particular elementary concern about something in a particular school or about your own child's, I'm going to read from the ad hoc, the different groups out there that have the ability, and we're going to empower these people. There's the LPS Joint Parent Teacher Organization. There's the Lawrence Education for Justice Alliance. There's the LPS Special Education Parents Advisory Council. There's the LPS English Learner Parent Advisory Council. And there's probably more, but those are the things that are listed. What we're doing when we take this from the districts and we make it at large is that those groups are going to be empowered because they're going to be the voice of whatever the issues are to talk to the school administration that, hey, it's my child, it's my whatever is not doing that. And we have in those, and they're going to have more power. We often complain, I hear, there's no teachers, there's no parents getting involved in the school system. That we need more. We need more. Well, now if you give them, that's going to be your job. Your megaphone gets louder, just like the school committee. These organizations are going to be better or more efficient and powerful and have more usefulness. So I like empowering these organizations. So that's the reason why I'm supporting it. And I will tell you, my last thing is this. When this vote is done, I need to continue this. I don't want to lose the ability to make this change. As much as I don't really, as much as I'm not a fan of the 331, I'll be voting yes on it tonight. But my very next step after that is I'm going to be talking to my legislators, and I hope others will join me, because that's the only way we're going to do it, is let them know that I did vote for that only because of the reason I got to get something to your desk. But here's what I really feel about it. I want 4 elected, 2 at large, and then, of course, the mayor's the ex officio. And that's what I want to do. So for those who are curious as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, that's the rationale. And I hope that helps explain to my constituents, the people that I represent. And I appreciate all their comments.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Rosario. You want
Madam.
Council President hasn't spoken. Council President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice President Infante. Thank you, everybody, for definitely being here and expressing your opinion about public participation, about different things that are going on here, and then you're basing your opinion the best form of government when it comes to the school committee. Just to continue the conversation that Mike LaPlante just said, when it comes to the 4-1, that was a proposal that was made by Councilor LaPlante, which I second and voted in favor. At that point, we 2 people voted in favor of that, and that was Councilor LaPlante and myself, which I believe 4-1 was going to be an option that we can definitely work on. That was not the case at that point. We were not able to go through with that. I also voted in favor of Councilor Luzon's proposal, which was maintaining the 6th district, having 2 appointees, and the mayor, which constitute a body of 9, which is also a hybrid model. And on that occasion, we, Councilor Santiago, Councilor Luzon, and myself, we voted in favor of that, which means that all of us. Thank you, Madam Vice President. So at that point, after the final vote passed, which is 3 elected, 3 appointees, and the mayor, everybody at that point have voted for a hybrid solution. With that in mind, that have keep this body in confirmation that we want something different, listening to the constituents. And there were 2 questions raised at some point during the conversation that I respect a lot. And we got an answer for those, as far as I understand. I'm an attorney and an engineer, so I'm not an expert in law, but I listen to the attorneys to a point that make me ask for a reconsideration, invoking Rule 11 and Rule 12, and Rule 11, Rule 20, and also having an opportunity to invoking Rule 4, which allow me to pass the gavel and make make a comment on what I believe is right. I was a member of the school committee since 2013 to 2015. Before that, I was a member of a board of trustees for an education institution that was dealing with 982 students. I'm being a city council for 9 years, almost going into my 10th now. So I'm not an expert in education, but I listen to my constitution, I listen to the parents, I help out a lot of parents because of the school committee knowledge that I acquire. And also, I have been able to discuss with different part of the community what might be a good solution for the school system in general. The school system is a complicated system that equation have different variants. In my own equation, I have different variants that I look at the education system of the city of Lawrence. By no means a political variance. I'm a taxpayer, I'm a parent, I'm a resident of Lawrence. I'm here to stay. I choose to move to the city of Lawrence. I wasn't brought up here. I choose to be here, to stay here, to learn the different part of the city, be proud about the city. Every time I go out and I say that I'm from Lawrence, I make sure that people knows that we are a proud Lawrencians. People are seeing like, oh, you're changing your vote because it's a political movement. It is not. I have voted consistently for a hybrid model, and that's what I'm doing. I believe that that is something that is at this point of time, it is something that will help the city of Lawrence in general. And essentially, we have our city attorney here that would like to say something. By all means.
Just for the record, Council President, I know you've alluded to it, you've called rules, et cetera, but if you could just say in plain language that you voted against the proposal?
Yeah.
You were the prevailing side. You have brought this motion to reconsider being in the prevailing side. That's just for the record. If you could please state that.
Yeah, of course. I brought that I invoke Rule 11 to suspend to work with Rule 11 to suspend Rule 20 because I was on the prevailing side and I voted on the prevailing side previously, which means allow me that process allowed me to reconsider my vote, and we just voted and a couple of minutes ago, and now I'm able to discuss this at this level and be able to express what I have two doubt questions before, legal questions, and that allowed, since I have an answer for those, that allowed me to pursue with what I have done previously, being consistent with the discussion of voting for two previous hybrid model, one of which was proposed for Council of Plan. We don't agree too much in many items, but on that one we agree.
Remember,
and then one of which was proposed by Councilor Luzon, and I also voted in favor of those. Just being consistent, and that's basically what is happening tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to express my opinion.
Thank you, Council President. At this point, I'm going to recognize Councilor Reyes, who has not said anything tonight, and after that, we are moving to the roll call. Councilor Reyes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Follow up my colleague, what my colleague LaPlante mentioned, through this kind of conversation, through this day was very tough conversation, because we have a conversation with Councilor Levy and also Councilor Del Rosario, and also with you, Councilor President, the idea to maintain our 6th district, the idea to add it a different kind of proposal to running additional 3-person at large or 3-person appointing, but what my colleague mentioned, this is the proposal we have in front of us. And I'm not engaged to have people appointing, what mentioned Councilor Levy. We have sometimes people don't decide yet to running for our school district. So this proposal gives us the opportunity to appointing some people. Sometimes we have empty spot from the school committee. So I want to mention that part because this kind of proposal was a little hard, especially for me, because some pressure for different way. But what my colleague mentioned, I represent our constituent. I'm being in the union for the last 20 years. I be very advocating for education, housing, and different kind of opportunity we need to advocate for our community and for our people. I'm fully support of fair share amendment. I'm fully supporting 2016 vote no and question 2 because we want to save our public school. But sometimes we need to do and follow and listening what our constituents express. And we received a lot of different kinds of opinion when they want to see some proposal to maintain the hybrid appointing and also some person through the vote because they want to see something different. But my colleague mentioned, see it's not working, we can come back and presenting it again. But today, I'm fully supporting the proposal we have on the table. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we are going to call the votes. This does require 6 votes. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilor Madam Chair, are you going to make the vote now?
Yes.
So,
Yes,
because I just leave, they asked me to leave, and they were,
Yes,
talking.
Councilor Levy, can you please recuse yourself?
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Marmal.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
No.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Luzon.
No.
Councilor LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Levy is noted as absent. Council President Rodriguez.
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante.
Yes.
I have 6 votes in favor. That carries for home rule.
6 votes. The home rule petition carries. I am now going to pass the gavel back to the Council President.
All right, councilors, thank you for the discussion, and make sure that we have an announcement.
No, you want to wait the 30 days. No.
It's a home rule petition, it doesn't have to. All right, and before we adjourn, councilors, I wanted to make an announcement that our next meeting is not going to happen on the first Tuesday of the month, since we have a national election, federal election. Our next council meeting is going to happen on Thursday, the 7th. That's been consistent with previous date that we have done the same. With that said, councilors are going to entertain a motion.
Second.
There is a motion to adjourn, properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.